Hello there, my friends. Brian King here. One word that I know that gets batted around a lot is the word acceptance, especially when someone else is telling us to do it. Now, this may have been something that I've talked about in a prior video, but it bears repeating because it's very important. Somebody telling us, well, you need to learn how to accept this, especially when it comes to our challenges. I've heard teachers and parents say throughout the years, you need to accept your disability, you need to accept your limitations, so on and so forth. But this is what we typically hear when someone encourages us to accept. We hear, you got to be happy with this. You got to be glad this exists. And we mistakenly think that there needs to be pleasure in acceptance. Not all the time, as you know. Because sometimes the things that we are being encouraged to accept are some of the toughest things in life. All the different, hey there, Liam, great to see you, buddy. Man, long time no hear. So one thing I've learned in terms of acceptance over the years, and this is with the help of some of my mentors, because even this old noggin needs some adjusting every now and then. And if you ask my wife, probably every single day. So now what I've learned to do is when someone encourages me to accept, what it reminds me of is that, Brian, you're trying to deny the fact that this reality exists. So when you think of acceptance, think of it this way. You're not thinking that you like it, you enjoy it, you have to pretend yourself it's A-okay. All you have to do is acknowledge that you may not like it, but it is the reality. And some of you in my tribe lately have really suffered some horrible, horrible life events. Some that are probably going to stay with you forever and change who you are. I'm not going to say, who's who, you know who you are, but man, some stuff that no human being should ever experience has befallen you. And you're struggling with acceptance. Because why on earth would you want to acknowledge some of these things as being real? But it doesn't change the fact that they are. Because once you can say to yourself, you know what? This sucks. It hurts. I've cried and cried and cried. I've shouted from the rooftops how mad I am about this. However, none of that changes the fact that this is my reality now. Whether it's the loss of someone you love, a sibling, a child, a divorce, it hurts, and it hurts at some of the deepest levels. And yet, it's the reality. So what do? Once you accept that this is the reality and allow yourself to take in just what this means for your life, then you can begin considering, what is my next step forward? Because speaking for myself, with some of the stuff that I've had to deal with, cancer when I was 18, my ex-wife leaving me and my 3 sons, and me having to figure out, where do I go from here? Now, my entire vision was, I've got this partner and we're going to, till death do us part. And now all of a sudden we're all kicked to the curb. This was not on my radar. What do? So the time came where I shed enough tears and had to ask myself, what's my next step forward? Because I still got 3 boys to raise. And in the most overwhelming experiences, that's all you need to be able to conceive and picture is your next step forward. Because there's nothing that gives you hope better than reminding yourself that you can move. You can take action. You can keep going forward, regardless of what's hit you. Ben, you said that you just had this reality discussion with your son 30 minutes ago. I guess the planets are aligned, huh? As I'm probably having surgery sometime, well, it's still November, sometime next month in December, to remediate a condition that I probably had for 20 years that didn't know about it. And hopefully it's going to solve a lot of my problems. But up until I even heard that was an option, I had to accept the reality of the fact that my body's not my best friend. Probably one of the reasons I spend so much time developing my mind and my heart is because my body's completely unreliable. It's always throwing new things at me that aren't working. So hopefully this is actually going to correct some things. I don't like surgery. Okay? I don't like being in hospitals. And yet there's that reality that that's going to be part of this whole equation. So I need to say to myself, okay, little man here, don't pitch a fit. Don't be ornery. Be a good patient. Do what you're told and accept the reality that hospital and surgery is going to be a part of correcting this. So that's important for me as well. Because if I were to sit there in the, man, I don't like this. This sucks. How can we say it? If I get stuck in that place, oh, way to create my own misery. That's a place of not acceptance. That's a place of resistance when you start complaining and all that stuff. But when you say, this is the reality, I need to find a way to make this work, to see it as something that is necessary for my journey in order for me to have the outcome I want. It's unpleasant, but it's the reality and it's temporary. Maybe not all of it's temporary. Some of it is going to stick with you. Some of it you can't get back if there are losses. But the stuff that is temporary and you acknowledge its temporariness, it's kind of easier to get through it, wouldn't you say? Because there's no point fretting over the things that are going to come in and go. Why even give it all that attention? Why give it that much power? Doesn't deserve it. So I hope this reframe of acceptance has been helpful for you. Because there's no question we are up to our eyeballs in reality these days. And a lot of us spend time saying things like, oh man, I wish I could just go to bed and wake up and it'll be gone. You know that's not going to happen. It's still going to be there. But you can say to yourself, man, this is a reality that's tougher than I ever expected. But you know what? I'm going to figure out a way to take one step forward. So let your plan be about taking action regardless of this reality, as opposed to trying to find new ways to resist it, new ways to be upset about it, new ways to make yourself miserable. It's much more practical to plan a path forward because that's what helps us grow. That's what helps us find happiness again. So hopefully this has been valuable. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. I really cherish your time and I'm extremely grateful for you. This has been Brian. We'll talk again soon.